So that kind of, like he said, this is the beginning of the end of the march. And here they end up at Camp O'Donnell. Camp O'Donnell was a training camp for the Philippine Army and was built just prior to the war. It consisted of a series of barracks built in typical Philippine style. The thatched roofs had bamboo-framed sides and floors and openings for windows, but no screens or shutters. Each barracks was about 50 feet long and could be called a double-decker because the attic was floored as well. The attic space may have been for storing personal gear in, instead of an area for sleeping. I say this because the highest point between the floor and the ceiling, or the roof, was about 5 feet. It would be cramped even for a short Filipino. I should know because that is where I slept. Once we passed through the gate, we were made to sit down in an open field where the law was laid down by the Japanese commander. I did not pay much attention to what he said except to hear him say that if you did this, you would be shot, and if you did that, you would be shot. I wondered what we could do without being shot. After he was through, an American officer walked up and introduced himself as General King. He said that he was the general in charge of the troops on Bataan, and he was solely responsible for our surrender. He told us not to feel bad or discouraged or guilty because we had nothing to do with it. It was his decision. And if any blame was to eventually come, it was his to face. That's some ownership right there. I had never heard of the general before, but he struck me as a brave and sincere officer. Well, there you go. That's what happens when you take ownership. People in your chain of command look and think you're a brave and sincere officer. Imagine if he stood up and said, well, we didn't get the support that we needed, and now we're in this position. It's like, no. I later learned that he surrendered the troops on Bataan without orders from General Wainwright and MacArthur when he realized that to continue fighting was useless considering the condition of the men under his command. He thought for sure that he would be court-martialed when the war was over because his last orders from MacArthur were to attack the enemy, an order which he chose to ignore. He knew that it meant sending hundreds more to their deaths, something that he would not do. Needless to say, he was not court-martialed at the end of the war because everyone by then realized that he did the right thing. We were finally taken to a barracks, and I decided the best place was up in the loft. I figured it would be the quietest and least disturbed. I took my only possession from around my neck, my musette bag, placed it on the floor, and got some long-deserved rest. The day was about over. Mosquitoes swarmed around my head before I fell asleep, but I did not have the energy to brush them off. Sometimes I think when I read these books about how pathetic I am, and you know how much like there's a mosquito in your room and it drives you crazy and you have to wake up and go kill it because you just can't deal with one mosquito that might bite you. Yeah. And here you are. Have you ever been in a subtropical place that has mosquitoes?
Yeah, Kauai.
Yeah. So it can be crazy.
Yes, sir.
It can be crazy. Do you have to sleep with a mosquito net there? In your house?
No, not in the house, but there are some places where, yeah, they'll have mosquito net. And it depends on where you live, too. If you live more up in like a mountain, jungly place, yeah, mosquito nets help sometimes.
Yeah, so I've been in places where you got to sleep in a mosquito net. Yeah. And even imagining, you think to yourself, oh, well, this would be a nightmare if I didn't have a mosquito net. And these guys they don't have anything close to mosquitoes. They don't even have sheets. They have nothing. They have nothing to cover themselves from being bit. So you think about these little tiny things that are like a major trauma when you're in your normal life. Yeah. It's a major trauma.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe there's mosquitoes out right now. You know?
What's fun is you mentioning the mosquitoes is still kind of bothering me right now. Like the thought of mosquitoes being in the room now.
Yeah,
it's kind of bothering.
Like we're sitting here letting it bother you, and then you imagine the situation these guys are in.
And he's like,
there's no.
Who cares about mosquitoes?
Yeah, he's not even brushing them off. He's too tired to brush them off. Man.
Yeah, that's.